Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, however you're watching, wherever you're watching, however you're listening, wherever you're listening. It's the Bet Online Salute Detroit podcast, and we have a very special guest here today. We got the man who's been all over. I actually looked into you. You're from the Boot, which is great. You went to one of the top high schools in the Boot, Edna Davis, right? Did I say it wrong?
Edna Carr,
one of the top high schools there. From there, you went to Georgia Tech. You was at Georgia Tech, which right across the street from the varsity, big time spot in Georgia. Then you got into your coaching career. You was at GMC. Actually, I coached at New Mexico Highlands. You was at GMC.
Okay.
And then from GMC, you went to, I'm slipping my mind now. I had it all written down.
Oklahoma
State, yep. Then you went to the other team in LA. And then you went to the right team in LA. And now you found yourself at the right university in LA. So going full circle at the best university in the world. Without further ado, we got Coach Eric Henderson, a.k.a. Coach Henny. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing well, man. Doing awesome. Super excited to be talking with you guys, man. I appreciate you guys inviting me on. I'm looking forward to it.
Ryan, how are you doing today?
Great. Happy to be here talking with both you fellas. And Coach, great to see you again. Super pumped. It's so funny covering the LA teams and even just being an LA fan here. It's like, sad to see you leave the Rams and then elated to see you join the Trojans. So I know we'll get into it, but happy you didn't leave the LA confines and we get to get your services on here. So appreciate it.
Thank you very much, man.
Coach Henny, let's jump straight into this thing. And I can speak for myself. I'm an LA kid. I grew up on the east side of the 110. I saw the torch light up from my front porch. I remember hearing the fans roar from the Coliseum. SC was the thing when I was a kid, from R.J. Sauer, Junior Seau, Matt Grudegood, all the legends that came through there. That's what drew me to SC. Right. My question to you is, what was the draw to SC? What drew you to come and be a Trojan?
The exact same thing that you speak of. When you talk about just the awesome history of this program, with all of the players that's been here, the coaches that's coached here, I mean, this is a professional program. I mean, professional university, if you will. And it's, like you said, it's the best in the world. When you talk about the academic standards that SC has and then the athletic programs that, we've put out, it's been phenomenal to see from afar. And now to be a part of continuing to try to make history here, you couldn't have asked for a better opportunity. Should you leave what was an awesome opportunity like I had with the LA Rams.
Yeah, Coach Al kind of mentioned it at the lead, but you got your feet wet in college right out the gate, coaching at GMC and Oklahoma State and UTSA before moving to the pros. But then being in the pros, now back in college, and it seems like as soon as you came here, like you hit that recruiting trail running, and probably I bet you haven't slept more than an hour or two a night. Can you just speak on what it's been like going from just maybe the pro grind, because it is still a grind, but now the college grind that is recruiting and selling the university and selling kind of your position?
Yeah, it's been a true display of the dog work mentality. When you talk about leaving the LA Rams and literally 2 days later starting at SC with the transition and getting ready to go on the road, because I felt like I had some ground to make up. So I hit the road extremely excited. Having missed that opportunity to meet people and get out on the road, whether it be the driving and being able to clear your thoughts when you're driving in rental cars around the country and visiting high schools and rekindling those relationships with head coaches and coaches at those high schools that you've been to before. It's been awesome. Like I've enjoyed recruiting all my life. And so to be back in this world, obviously, the recruiting dynamics are different now, but it's still the same when you talk about being able to build those personal relationships with families and young men that truly lean on us as role models and coaches to be able to help them develop and direct them in the right direction, knowing that you have a lot to offer both as a person and as a coach with a tremendous amount of experience. Like I have. And so I enjoy those opportunities that I get.
Yeah, Coach Henny, I see that you mentioned DAWGWORK. You got the hashtag DAWGWORK on there. You want to explain the theory behind DAWGWORK and what that means? And I'm excited because dogs are dogs. So that means that D-line is about to be some dogs. So go ahead and explain what DAWGWORK is.
It's truly a mentality, man. It's a mentality. It's a way of life. It's the way you go about your day-to-day business. When you talk about having the disciplined mindset, having the right attitude that we can control every day, the work ethic that comes with that, whether you're in the sports world or just in your day-to-day life, you have to have some type of discipline, attitude, work ethic, and then having some type of grit to be able to just withstand challenges that come your way. And then what does it mean to work? You got to be a willing participant first and foremost. And when you're willing to do what it takes to achieve greatness or accomplish those goals that you set for yourself, you become obsessed with what that feels like, obsessed with wanting to strive for greatness. And then when you're obsessed, you can attack situations with a relentless mindset, knowing that there is going to be challenges, there's going to be difficult moments that you would experience, and to be able to do it again and to chase that opportunity again, and then being able to have that killer instinct to finish the competition or finish the job, if you will. And so you just got to love it. And when you talk about an acronym and breaking down every letter in dog work, that's what that means. And when you can live your life that way, again, whether it be the sport that you're involved in, the way you go about your day-to-day tasks when you wake up, if you have that approach to life, it helps you. And I truly believe that it covers every aspect of development. It covers every aspect of your approach to things. And it's just good for young men to be able to have something that they can lean on and refer back to, knowing that it hits so close to home.
I love it. Sign me up. Where's my NIL? Sign me up. I'm ready to go. Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah. We've been obviously blessed here in LA, getting to watch, the services of Aaron Donald and what he's been able to do. But I think, what you've done as a coach, I always call you on this show and all shows, like, I think you're the best defensive line coach, in America. I'm not just saying that to toot your horn, but just when you see the other guys that aren't Aaron Donald, the Kobe Turners of this year, who should have been defensive rookie of the year and whatnot. So when you talk to these kids now, and obviously they're probably first like, oh, Aaron Donald, like talking about Aaron Donald, kind of what's your mindset? And obviously it goes into everything you just said with dog work, but telling them like, hey, let's look at how we can develop you to become the next Aaron Donald, but this is what it's going to take to get there.
That's right, Ryan. Like you hit that on the head. Like a lot of guys, obviously they know Aaron Donald. He's the best to ever play the game at the position. And so it's awesome having a relationship with him and having coached him for a number of years, and just watching AD continue to thrive in his career and not show any signs of slowing down. That is phenomenal. So it's helped me as a coach, having coached a guy like that, because he draws so much attention. And when he draws so much attention, you have to find ways to continue to help him be who he is, whether that be trying to dictate the protection when you talk about the schematic side of things from a defensive perspective, whether that be encouraging and developing the guys around him, like you speak about the Kobe Turners and the Byron Youngs and the Jonah Williams and all of the guys that's played there, the Ashawn Robinson having the best career that he's ever had playing for the LA Rams, and Greg Gaines and Sebastian Joseph Day, and even Michael Brockers having his best careers when we've played together. And so, Morgan Fox, I mean, you can go on and on. And so, like, it's been nothing but development. All of those guys have achieved everything that they could achieve playing next to AD, and obviously us working together with me being the coach. And so it's been fun coaching those guys. They've all been role models, and they've all definitely displayed what the dog work mentality means, what that looks like, the way they went about their business every day when you talk about practice habits. And so the developmental piece has been huge when you speak about those guys. And yes, Kobe Turner should have been the defensive rookie of the year. And it's sad that we didn't get that right, or the NFL didn't get that right, because he's very deserving of it. And he's done everything that he could have done to position himself to have won that award.
Coach Henny, there's been a long going argument here at LAFB.
Right.
So I've coached at the Division II level, at the college level, and I always say there's a difference between coaching and a difference between teaching.
Right.
And at the college level, you're teaching. You have to teach these kids how to play the game, where to put their hands, right stance, because some high school coaches don't put them in the best situation. At the college level, it's more coaching like, hey, you're good there. Place your hand. I'll place my hand right there. Look at the protection, things like that. Now you're going back to teaching the game. How has that transition been with the guys that you have now and coming back to the college level?
Well, I think it's a little bit of both on both levels. I think you're always teaching, and I think you're always coaching. And I think, so when you talk about just having the base fundamentals, I think it's just a little bit more focusing on the base fundamentals of a stance, if you will, when you talk about the college students, athletes that are transitioning, the high school student athletes that are transitioning into college, is those base fundamentals is what you really have to hone in on, getting in a proper stance, understanding how to utilize certain stances. And then you talk about the hands placement, the eye progression, and the violence that we need to have at the point of attack, understanding just the schematics of football. You're teaching these guys truly football. But at the end of the day, it was the exact same thing with the LA Rams and in the NFL. You still have to teach these guys those things, because you'll find out that even when you're, drafting young men into the National Football League, some of those guys still need to understand those key technical and base fundamentals that were probably not even taught on the collegiate level. And that's part of the motivation that I have to be here, because I recognize that there a lot of that was missing, even with some of the guys that you're drafting, still having to work on some of those base fundamentals that you're always going to coach, and some of those key schematic indicators that can help those guys play faster. Because at the end of the day, it's all about getting your guys to play fast. If they can line up, understand what's happening prior to the ball being snapped, how fast can we play? Do I know how I'm going to be blocked because of the front that I'm in? Or where my position on the football field dictates how this guy has to release off the ball. And then now I can play faster because I have an understanding of that. And so all of those things are constantly being taught, whether you're in the collegiate level or on the professional level. Those base fundamentals are never, you're never going to stop coaching those things or just move away from those things, right? And then you talk about pad level, the technique, and all of those things. Like it's going to always be things that you're talking about when you talk about football in general.
Yeah, I love it. Coach, I know you've only been, has it even been a month you've been with SC yet? Just about?
Yeah, just about
a month.
A little bit over a month.
Yeah. When you look at, and obviously spring ball, starts here in a couple of weeks. So you haven't probably got ingrained with the whole team, or at least the players a ton yet. But when you look at, returning players a little bit, obviously everyone knows Barry Alexander, but you look at Jameel Muhammad, great leader in this team. You look at Anthony Lucas, who has a ton of talent as a raw pass rusher. Have you been able to talk a lot to those guys yet, or just what do you kind of see maybe from the group returning that excites you and is ready to get you in that building and really get them, to that next level?
You're exactly right. We've had a few within the framework of the rules that in the allotted times that we were able to spend with those guys, right? We've had those opportunities to be able to kind of talk a little bit about that, right? But obviously you need so much more work, and that's why I'm excited for spring ball, when we're able to truly dive into those things. However, those players that you mentioned, when you talk about Jameel, his leadership, Anthony Lucas, his athleticism, his ability to rush the passer, and Bear continuing to try to develop into the complete player that he can be. All those guys still have so much that they can tap into, and that's why you're excited about this group. And then you got so many other guys that you haven't mentioned that I'm excited about as well. And so I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be the defensive structure that should be player friendly for these guys to play fast and understand what's happening, line up quick, and obviously make it simple for them so that they can execute at a high level.
Yeah, it's music to Al's ears right there.
Play fast, man. Play fast and recreate the line of scrimmage. You create a new line of scrimmage, you win it every time. Coach Henny, so and I talk about it all the time on the show too. One of the things I say is, and I think you approached it a little bit in the dog mentality. One of the things I always say, like when I was coaching, I said we are the last we are the last group of men that we see before these young men step into the real world. So you have to set example, and you become a second part. Like a lot of people call college coaching salesman, but you have to convince a parent to have your kid come live with them for 4 years, and that's a hard thing to do. So what I'm getting into is, and like I say, we're the last set of men that they see before they step into the real world. And it's different going into the NFL a little bit because you're still getting some kids. Can you tell us the difference in the mentoring from the NFL to the mentoring in college?
I think it's the same, but I do think it's a bit more precious when you're talking about developing those relationships prior to college, right? When you talk about the family and the young men that we're trying to onboard, it is dear because you're asking these parents and sometimes single moms, who's never been away from their kids to trust you and trust that you have their best interests at heart. And I think that's part of the reason why I love recruiting so much, because I do everything with my heart, and I truly love and care about these young men developing. I truly know that the experiences that I've had in my personal life, when you talk about my growth and development, how that can play a huge impact in developing these young men. Like, I'm excited about those things because I know it works, because it's genuine, it's real. I'm not doing anything to sell you on why I want your young man to be under my supervision. I truly want to be an extension of their parents away from home, whether they're fatherless like I grew up. And so there's a little bit more of a personal reason why I feel like I'm the best coach and mentor for that young man. If he did grow up similar to me without a father in his life and a single mom, I also lost my mom at a young age. And so, like, you're just not going to get someone that truly cares like I do. It's not going to happen, and it's not possible. And I understand I've been in this profession for a while now, and I know what that looks like. When you talk about true genuineness, true love and passion for what you do, that is who I am, right? That's why I want to be the best at everything. I want to be the best, and I feel like I am the best in the world when it comes to this. And so whether that be developing relationships, whether that be being truthful in terms of looking a parent in the eye and telling them exactly what's going to happen for their young man and how that plays itself out. Obviously being honest, upfront, forthright in terms of how you go about your business. Like, you can't help but win with me, whether that be in life. And that doesn't always mean going to the National Football League. You can still win in life without playing in the NFL. It's not all about that. However, you have the best shot at playing in the NFL if you are under the supervision of me, because I'm MC to that, right? And so if God, has it out for those guys and they're healthy and they're doing everything that they're being asked of, you have a very great opportunity to achieve those goals if that's goals of yours. And so that's what I'm excited about, man. I'm just telling you. And so I'm looking forward to every bit of that.
Yeah, no, it's great to hear, because I think especially with this new era of the evil 3-letter word, right? NIL. And I think that still, in my opinion, holds more weight. Like who's going to be there mentoring my kid? And I'm reminded, Coach, and please jump in and correct me if the fact's wrong, because it was a long time ago when I had you on the show, 3 years ago or so, you kind of were telling a story about when you're starting off coaching and, going on road trips at this university, having to, provide meals yourself because you care about the kids and want to make sure they were eating right. So I'm reminded, just that goes deep, like this care and this mentorship, and saying like, hey, I'm all in on this. I care about you. It's not just about the end goal. It's like, we're getting through this together. So did I get that story right? That was a long time ago. I remember you telling
exactly
that, man.
It's so awesome that you even remembered that, man. That's really cool, because you're talking about the experience that I had at Georgia Military College when I was coaching at GMC. You're talking about a junior college where we had the opportunity to recruit some of the most talented individuals I've ever seen, right? Because people, in my mind, I thought they slept on those junior college players at that time. And it was because, obviously, they didn't have the grades, and some of those guys that didn't have the grades were the most talented Division I players. They're still 4- and 5-star players that were at the junior college level. And so they didn't always have the means. You're not at a Division I program where you had everything at your disposal for the most part. And so, I just came from the National Football League. When you talk about my transition to a coach at that particular time, and so knowing that I was able to personally provide, whether it be drinks on the long 20-hour bus ride, waters and food and things that you could help those guys with. It was just a genuine approach to that, knowing that these guys are giving everything that they can. But what people don't understand is that goes a long way, because those guys played their tails off. I mean, I had guys like Trent Brown, who's in the National Football League right now, is the left tackle for the New England Patriots. Neville Hewitt, still playing for the Houston Texans. All of those guys was on that, that junior college team that I was coaching at Georgia Military, along with a few other guys that played. And it was just, it was awesome, man. It really was.
Yeah, that you're speaking to me right now, because when I was coaching, that was like a thing I did. Like before camp start, had a dinner at my house. Middle of the season, had a dinner at my house. At the end of the season, had a dinner at my house, because cafeteria food ain't the greatest. We was in Las Vegas, New Mexico, in the middle of nowhere. We had a bunch of California kids. Like, man, y'all come and get a good meal. Like, so I know exactly what you're saying. Like, no money, nothing to eat off of, but they remember you, right? And I still have kids to this day that still reach out to me and like, Coach, how you doing? Or you get a random call, I'd be like, you were used as a reference for such and such. Like, oh, okay, great kid, love him. He'll work hard for you. Like, so I know exactly what you're talking about. That definitely speaks to me. Ryan, you got another question, or you mind if I go?
No, get him out. Yeah, this will be the last one. Get him out of the show. End it good, Coach.
Yeah. All right. Well, all right. First, before we go, I'm gonna end it with this. So your SoCal coaching tour ends here, Coach Henny. You can't go to the other side of town. We have to end your SoCal coaching tour here. Has to stop right here. So I wanted to ask you this earlier. So recruiting, I'm gonna tell you my recruiting experience. I love the road trips. I love seeing different cities. I love going to different places. I hated the whole sleeping in a hotel, and I hated eating at restaurants for like 10 days at a time. What do you love about recruiting? I know you touched on it, like going to high schools, but just give a little bit of the part that you dislike about it.
To be honest with you, I don't really think that I dislike a lot about it, man. That's the crazy part about it. And people might think I'm crazy, but I actually enjoy every bit of it. Oh, let me take that back. I'm sorry. There is something that now I'm thinking about it that I do dislike. Being away from my family. I have a daughter now, and she's, 19 months. Her name is Sky Henderson. And she is the most beautiful young lady in the world, just so dear to my heart. I love my wife. And when I'm away from them, and to be away from them for sometimes weeks at a time, that's tough. And so you got to talk FaceTime. You got to, talk to them while you're driving. My baby is yelling, Dad, Dad, every time I call. Like, that is super tough. And that's the part that, I really have to be honest that I hate. Prior to having a wife and a kid, I couldn't tell you anything. So that would be the only thing that I really dislike.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'm in the process. I'm trying to buy a Sprinter van, convert it into like a camper van, so then you can just bring them on the road. So you got to do the same thing. They're with you.
Coach Henny, I appreciate you, man. I enjoy your time. It was great talking to you. I'm pumped for the season. Oh, I do have one more question. Will we be able to execute a pirate this year? Because if you execute pirate, you're the best D-line in the nation. You know that. If you can land sacks on pirate, can we get pirate executed this year?
We'll get a couple of them executed, big dog. I promise.
Hey, man, you get pirate down, you the best. That's good news, awesome. Man. We're ending on a high note. That's great, Coach Henny. I appreciate your time. I enjoy you. You guys, we got one of the best here. You see his passion, you love it. It's a salute to Troy. Bet Online podcast. Live free, fight on.